Hey everybody, welcome to Graded Point Live. Once again, I'm here. I'm Wayne. Jordan is right there, and I would like to introduce our newest co-host, Race Realist Thanos.
It's your boy, Race Rilla Santos here. I can't even say what I feel going.
Had this bit all prepared, and you wrecked it.
I got my FBI and crime statistics. Can't you hear the folder? Ready to go.
What are you talking about? Open up right here. Is it 2017?
Oh, you got the
yeah. There you go.
file of it.
Yeah, I know. I got it pulled up right now. It's a preliminary semi-annual uniform crime report.
I like it.
Y'all niggas racist.
Oh, I'm Race Realist. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Shit. Shit,
I'm
you're
not
right.
actually racist. I don't hate any other races. I'm just telling you all about them.
I'm just telling you the truth.
While wearing the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. Well, we're not actually racist here. We just play them on TV.
Yeah, we just get paid to play them on TV.
Yeah. So, yeah. So tonight we got an interesting show for you. Just it does not have to do anything with crime statistics and race realism.
Unfortunately.
So we're going to talk about is comic book store closings that have been happening since the first of the year, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we talk about Mile High closing theirs, or should we talk about this Coliseum of Comics? Because this guy, his shit would probably take a whole show just to go over. So maybe we should hit Mile High first.
Yeah, we can go ahead and hit Mile
Yeah,
High
go
first.
with the short one first to get it out the
Yeah,
way.
okay. So Mile High Comics, Glendale location, closes after 28 years. Anybody doesn't know who Mile High Comics is? They're like a huge retailer in Colorado, but that that's just kind of part of it. They also do they do like a lot of mail order stuff. They were
I would say,
huge-
don't they do it with internet things?
Yeah, they do that, and we used to be mail order, but now obviously gone to internet. Like ordering, distribution, things like that.
So I never heard of I heard of Coliseum of Comics because isn't that a chain too?
Yeah, that's in Florida, right?
Yeah, I think it's because I remember
Mm-hmm.
going to the mall and seeing them, and I'm pretty sure I've been in one years ago.
Yeah, Mile High is like they're more out west, but they were
West
so big
Coast.
they were one of the big sponsors of Comic Con in San Diego.
Oh, they're the ones that put that. Okay.
Yeah. So they were one of the big sponsors. But last year, I think in 2017, they pulled out because
Gee, I wonder why.
well, I think one of the biggest reasons why is Comic Con is not about comics anymore. It's about what movies coming out and
Yeah, it's
TV
just about some.
shows and like that.
It's Cape shit that's coming out that year, and
Yeah. So
maybe a comic book artist will show up and do sketches for $50 or something. But
yeah. But it's mostly about doing the panels for like the new movie coming out.
yeah, because the only pictures I ever seen is two things. One, all these fucking like Will Wheaton fucking commie nerds that show up
Mm-hmm.
to talk about their feminist bullshit or whatever, and then it's the movie people, and that's because you always see the Comic Con logo and stuff in the background when they take pictures.
Yeah.
That big yellow sign.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's the only things I remember is fucking like annoying nerds and movie stars Comic Con. I never no one's telling me about the new Batman comic or anything like that.
Right. There wasn't like a big announcement of say, hey, Grant Morrison's getting ready to work on a new Batman story or something like that. It's all about it's gonna be this new Joker movie that nobody really wants to watch is coming out, kind of thing.
I don't understand. I keep going back to the Batman White Knight because that's it turned into a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
They might have made a little announcement there, but it was never a headline thing. It never got any bleeding cool or whatever the fucking these websites. They never put any of that shit on there.
Yeah, because they're more worried about controversies and things like that. I mean, I'm sure it took Bleeding Cool a hell of a lot just to talk about the Mile High thing. They have not mentioned anything about Coliseum of Comics. Because the reason why they mentioned Mile High is because Mile High is kind of hedging and saying what their problems was the cost of rent and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing it off on other things other than the big two being fucking degenerate suckers.
Yeah. So let's go over this article. Y'all have the links, right? By the way,
I have.
what we discussed earlier, my ad block on this particular site, is now up to 2,400 blocked ads.
Nice.
Fucking Christ.
And that's also running a no script. So, and a U block. A U block has over 2K scripts blocked right now.
Oh, what, the Mile High thing right now?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, my U block is already hitting 25, and I just opened the damn thing up. So,
So basically, don't go to westward.com. That's
yeah, this is a that's the thing. Like, you'll watch like fucking you boy Zach videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have ad blockers on shit.
Yeah.
And when he goes to these, there's 45 fucking ads and videos popping up and shit playing every time he goes to one of these things trying to talk about something. Same with Ethan.
Yeah, I know Ethan. He'll get annoyed.
Like, you boomers, fix that shit. Come on.
Yeah, he gets annoyed with that shit, and I was like, dude, get some. People are telling him ad block, you block something, get something. Just damn, or go archive it and then look at it. You know?
Yeah, that might be the thing to do.
Okay, so let's see. All right, on Sunday, December 30th, a man with a long gray ponytail, I can see the problem right now, stood outside the Mile High Comics Glendale location, scrapping away at a paint image of Superman. That's so sad. Inside, most of the toys and comics that once filled the shelves were gone. The company's president, Chuck Rosansky, had spent days lugging them to his Dodge minivan and driving them to the Mile High Comics flagship store on Jason Street. The store manager looked like he was using the store manager looked like he could use a hug. Isn't that so sweet, guys? Don't you think we should just, like, when a store closes, just go give the manager a hug? Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is with the way that they're writing this goddamn article? Jesus.
They're trying to generate a ton of sympathy for these guys.
Yeah.
Because these are the poster boys for comic. You know, they want to say local comic shops are in trouble, but they don't want to say why.
Yeah.
So this is the case study that they're using.
Exactly. By the way, anybody liking the I don't know if you can see it on live stream, but this ad over here is just like, hey, look at all this other stuff that has nothing to do with this article. I apologize for that. Okay, so is it point? Oh yeah, the store manager looked like he used a hug. Asked by customers if the shop was closing, he didn't answer directly, and instead pointed to a stack of flyers. It is with a heavy heart that I must pass on to you the news that we are closing our Glendale location permanently on December 31st. Rosansky says on that flyer. Our decision was based on many factors, including rising operating costs, intolerable parking shortages, and a lack of air conditioning.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny about this, if you go back up to the top and you look at, like, where they're doing this stuff at, where this location at, that is clearly an urgent care underneath, right? So this is a 2-stack, mall, strip mall. It looks like.
Yeah, it's a strip mall.
Yeah. So they got an urgent care here and a thing over here, and why don't y'all have air conditioning? Y'all just didn't pay for it? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. They're just too damn cheap to, like, play for air conditioning is what it sounds like to me. Get that shit
Well,
fixed.
there was a comic store here. It's still around, I think, but it downsized, like, into a smaller area store. But what it was used to be a small store, then went big, and then it was in basically a fucking warehouse.
Right.
And I understand why you can't AC that. Like, I think they had fans and stuff, but it wasn't maybe not like proper really good. It was always hot in there because it was one, Florida, two, you could park a fucking airplane in there.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you could tell this is clearly a.
But this one is not one of those. It's like just a tiny strip mall.
It's clearly a storefront. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I like how they're blaming parking. That is like, that was something. I think Rich Johnson on Bleeding Cool tried to blame, like, closing comic book shops on. Well, parking's really bad in some of these areas. Like, are you fucking shitting me, dude?
Here's the thing: that comic book store I was talking about, the downsides. I'm pretty sure it downsized because the sales were shit. I don't even know if the new one is around anymore. I haven't been down that way. But the thing is, it was in like a big, like, PetSmart, kind of one of those big ass
big strip mall.
It was a strip mall, but and it had like a PetSmart on one side. It was one of those huge ones, like a Target would be,
Yeah.
Fucking parking was never. It was always wide open.
Yeah.
Maybe on their really super heavy nerd nights, there'd be a lot of cars there, but that didn't happen very often.
I mean, it's not like, most of those, because, like, I know where I live, like, there's the Walmart, and then, like, right down from there is, like, a GameStop.
Yeah.
They never had a problem with parking, even though it's, like, in a Walmart parking lot. So.
Yeah, that reminds me too, because being Florida man, I go to Publix for my attendees.
Oh yeah.
And right next to one was a comic shop, but that place is completely empty now. used to have all kinds of Pokemon shit and that kind of stuff. That's sort of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's one of those local comic shops that got super nailed by the really bad economy,
Right.
for comics lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I like firsthand, I've seen it happen, and I never really understood why, because there just wasn't a lot of people in the store and stuff. But then reading all this shit, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so lack of air conditioning.
Yeah, that's what did it.
Yeah, the most heartfelt
Sweaty
reason.
nerds.
Now this kind of makes more sense to me if you're gonna throw out a reason. Is that the most heartfelt reason for closing, though, is the departure of Aaron Tucker, the shop's manager. Rosansky described him as the heart and soul of this wonderful operation for nearly 20 years, and adds, we simply cannot conceive continuing to operate this location without his boundless energy and enthusiasm. Now,
He was the guy keeping him in the black, what it sounds like.
yeah, until he couldn't, pretty much.
So he's like, look, dude, Jesus can't come. Rachel Stanos can't come and snap his fingers and get it.
Yeah, he's like,
The book's right.
Let's say Mile High Comics originally opened in part of the shopping complex around Celebrity Sports Center, a legendary entertainment and shopping destination in South Colorado Boulevard that ran from 1960 to 1994. Launching with money from Walt and Roy Disney, Jack Benny, Bing Crosby, and other entertainment moguls, the center included 80 bowling lanes, hundreds of arcade games, Colorado's largest swimming pool, 3 water slides, skee ball, and bumper cars. It was a dream location for a comic book store. I like how they talk about all this and none of it has to do anything with.
No, yeah, they're trying to like. See, it just says hard times in the 90s. They're trying to blame other factors, is what they're setting up.
I get the point. They're trying to like when you have
all
those
bustling thing, yeah.
Well, yeah, when you have all these stores around it, if you also have a comic book store that you'd anticipate getting larger amounts of business just because it's an entertainment venue. And I know like any mall that it like has like entertainment shit around it.
Yeah.
If people go and they're like, oh, well, while I'm out having fun, because I'm already getting that dopamine hit, I'm going to go spend money that I don't need to be spending on bullshit. So I think that's kind of the angle they're trying to go at here.
So, yeah, but hard times hit the center in the early 90s, and it was demolished by 1995. The land where the legendary Funland once stood now serves as a site of the Glendale Home Depot.
A fate worse than death.
Mm-hmm. I like this statue that they're showing here.
You can't show that, dude. It's got titties. You can't have that.
I mean,
Superman's got a nice set of titties. I don't know why you're upset. Oh, you're talking about? Oh, okay.
I mean, Superman's rocking that mustache though.
Yeah, there's a ride going on somewhere.
Goddamn. Okay, Mile High Comics moves to an upstairs spot in a building at 760 South Colorado Boulevard. Over the years, the price of the rent has skyrocketed. With too little parking and second floor location that cost more than $5,000 a month, keeping the store alive was no longer worth it to Rosansky and his company. And here's a quote: "The complete lack of parking in the shopping center made a mockery of the $5,000 plus rent that we were paying each month, especially for a smallish second floor location," Rosansky tells his customers in a blog post. But it's not bad news. All bad news for Mile High Comics. The venture that Rosansky launched in his parents' basement in 1969, his newer megastore on 4600 Jason Street, a 65,000 square foot jaw-dropping warehouse loaded with high-end collectibles, boxes of dollar comics, and seemingly endless supply of antique toys, has been doing gangbuster sales. And as a whole, Mile High Comics has been growing. Except for the fact that they're closing that location.
And so they're closing down a location that they could have just moved and got a cheaper rent somewhere.
Exactly.
That's what strikes me as complete bullshit about it. Oh, it's the rent. No, because you can just move it.
Yeah.
Like their lease is obviously up. That's why they're pulling they didn't renew it because the lease probably came up a while ago and he's like, look, I'm not renewing it because I'm not going to keep the store open 6 months from now.
What probably happened, and I'm sure because this happened with other big companies and like landlords and stuff, is like they try to negotiate it back down. It's like, look, we're paying $5,000 a month. This is ridiculous for this location, for the money we make and blah blah blah. Can we maybe get it take some of it off, kind of thing. And the property owner probably didn't budge, and they said, okay, we're going to close it. So basically, they're just coming up with a bunch of bullshit. Just say the store in that location is not making money because we can't sell comic books because the comic books are bullshit. So
yeah,
so we're out.
Yeah, and I guarantee this mega store one that they have, like I guarantee, because this was the same with the comic book shop I was telling you about, with that giant fucking warehouse. It was a huge one like this.
Yeah.
And one of their biggest nights was people coming in with their like miniature toys, the like Warhammer and those kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
They would come in and they would like have like they would paint them.
Yeah.
People would buy paint. They would sit around, shoot the bullshit. They'd play games, that kind of stuff. That was like one of their biggest nights, and I saw it. That's when it was fucking huge and busy and stuff. I guarantee you that stuff is what's making this place money, and not any of that crap on the wall.
Yeah, you're right. Because you're looking at this picture. That's their warehouse location. And
yeah, that's almost exactly what the store I was talking about looked like. Looked very similar.
I'm guaranteeing that everything on in the interior here, like the toys and stuff like that, and like you said, the other nerdy, geeky kind of stuff is what's selling, and not, like you said, not what's on the wall. You know?
Yeah, like that place. I went there. I never ever bought a comic. Reason I would go there is I bought a couple. They would sell board games, like really kind of like niche, hard to find ones. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of like super nerdy strategy games. You know, the kind of shit I'm into.
Yeah.
And that's what I went there for, basically. And a couple other things. I forget what it is, but it wasn't comics. I never bought a comic from that place.
Yeah. All right, let's see here.
And this was like 15 years ago. So. Yeah.
But regulars at the Glendale store will have to turn the page.
So sad.
I am on the road again.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, really?
I cry every time.
Yeah. As regards the future, we would ask that you please shift your patronage to either our Jason Street location or our Lakewood store. So they still have 2 stores open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what another thing is that, because these are all in the same city.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do they have 3 stores?
Fuck it, why not?
And especially if one's constantly in the red, why would you need that? Like, and you have this mega ass store. Just tell everyone, hey, look, you got to drive 30 minutes, whatever. But here you go. This because people who buy that shit, like the board games, the Warhammer, they'll make the damn trip like an hour to go to a cool place that they like.
Well, especially if you got really good customer service, because just like, you know, the company I work for in the city I live in, we have 4 stores. We have customers who come from the other side of fucking town, which is literally a 35 minute fucking drive, just because they don't like going to the other stores because the other stores are shitty. Even though we're a smaller location.
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, I was on a baseball team, and we were sponsored by a guy who had won the lottery. And he opened up a comic book store because that's what he always wanted to do. Mm. And he sponsored us, and he would take us to like we would do like fucking weird game nights, and he would give us free shit from the store all the time because he liked watching the games. But the thing was that he was like an old weird guy, but he was cool as hell. Mm-hmm. He treated everyone nice. He had the people who worked for him were cool, and there was other comic book stores, but people would go to him in his store because the way it was set up and how it was just better. You know what I mean? It was just more fun to be there than the other places. So people would take the extra 20, 30, 40 minutes to go to his place. Yeah. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
So, yeah, let's finish this article real quick because I ain't too much left. See. This month has been an all-time best sales month in the 8-year history of Jason Street. With our reputation as being the fun place to spend a day with your kids grows with families throughout the Denver area. As of last evening, our sales at Jason Street were at an awesome 132.2% of last December. So it only makes sense for us to stop paying outrageous rent in Glendale. I will actually miss having the store on the east side of town, but I definitely will not miss writing those rent checks. But East Denver will definitely miss Mile High Comics as one-of-kind venture that's attained legendary reputation across the country, even if it couldn't offer enough parking in Glendale. Now, here's the thing. You notice he didn't say anything about comics when he said, I'll talk about sales.
Oh, yeah. I was about to mention that. I guarantee you that any of those sales increases were not comics.
And look, I like how it says the fun place to spend a day. So the thing is, Mile High Comics sounds like less of a store and more of an experience.
It's exactly what I just told you about the nerds coming in with their Warhammer and playing the games on the tables and renting table space, and they probably got it like the comic book place was talking about. They had fucking like studio setups where you could play you could rent 360 Game Time by the hour.
Right.
And people would go there and just play it on like a giant ass screen that they had.
Yeah, just chill and have fun kind of thing.
Yeah, play Call of Duty and drink Cokes and hang with your friends kind of thing.
Now here, you know, what we were talking about is like who writes this stuff. Well, we just found him. Now you could tell this is like one of those guys we've talked about in the past when it comes to quote journalism.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle Harris quit making documentaries and started writing when he realized that he could tell hundreds of stories at the same amount of time it takes to make one movie. Now, hooked on the written word, he's Westword's culture editor and writes about the music and the arts.
Oh yeah,
basically he couldn't make no money being a filmmaker, so he's fucking.
Yeah, this is a guy that wants to so desperately be a writer in Hollywood, but fucking can't get there. So he has to write on some Westworld or some website that pays by the fucking click or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a failed writer. That's basically what all these guys are, failed writers.
What I love about this thing is like, you look, okay, we're done with the article, right? But you can keep scrolling down and it just keeps going. I hate sites that do this bullshit.
The damn,
they just go to another article altogether. Like,
yeah.
Like, God, I hate
that's another thing about these kinds of sites too, is that they're so badly, like, just the setup, the UI and everything is just fucking terrible. Yeah. I can't read these things half the time.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling down just to give everybody a kind of idea of like, look how long this goes. I'm not near the bottom.
Just kill me, fam.
Oh God. Oh, I'm trying to see. Are these all written by Kyle Harris? No. Okay. There's different articles.
He's like the only guy there writing shit for him.
They're the only people willing to pay me.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it's all Kyle Harris, but he's doing it under pseudonyms.
Oh God.
So it's like my other writer, Mile Barris.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God. So yeah, that's the end of that. I got to get rid of that because it's killing my bandwidth with all these.
All right, let's do the next article. Let's see. It's only 6 ads, so that's not bad.
Yeah, and plus, you know,
probably won't get into triple digits like the other one did.
No, it kind of. I went to this site and it just stopped immediately. So
yeah, like it's just hanging at 6. That's good.
Yeah. So here's this is the good one. This is the main event. Stop. This is the Coliseum of Comics, and now that was the. It's written by Phil Boyle. Something has to change. Guest column by Phil Boyle of Coliseum of Comics. Phil Boyle, whose Coliseum Comics chain is the largest comics and game retailer in the Southeast, has shared his thoughts on what he sees as top 8 problems in the comic business, his solutions, and what publishers can do.
Because this isn't a writer. This is just a dude who runs the place, telling you what the deal is.
Yeah. He's the actual owner of this, company.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I looked up this Phil Boyle. This tells you how hardcore this tells you how hardcore this guy is, right? Okay. Back in 2012, apparently, what's his name? Mark Waid. The guy who's the brilliant guy who's thinks it's a good idea to interfere with people's contracts.
Yeah.
Mark Waid had started a venture where he was going to go full digital, like he was going to launch a full digital comic imprint kind of thing. Right. And in doing so, he has sold his entire comic collection to fund it, right?
Right.
Phil Boyle pretty much took that as basically what he's advocating is the just disintegration of the print media, right? And so
the elimination of comic book stores.
Yeah, so Phil Boyle took every book that was written by Mark Waid in his store and threw them out.
It probably didn't hurt his bottom line one fucking bit.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. He's like, this is just taking up space I had to fucking dust off every week. All right.
Yeah, exactly. So I found that hilarious that his protest is just to get rid of Mark Waid's shit. He said he wouldn't carry Mark Waid's shit. He said if DC printed a major storyline that Mark Waid was writing, he wouldn't stock it. It was.
Yeah, and I guarantee you his sales have not suffered one bit from it.
I bet it hasn't. No. But I got to appreciate somebody who take a stand like that. It's like, no, this guy's messing with my livelihood. What are you talking about? And then
that's the cool thing about being your own boss is you can wild out and do stupid shit like that if you want.
And what's funny is in the article, Mark Waid, of course, Mark Waid has to comment on everything because he can't keep his trap shut.
Yeah, and he writes just like we talk about how people don't know how to talk.
Yeah, he's one of those idiots that I call. They try to end their answer with a question. He's
a pompous asshole. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And I hate people who do that. It's like I'm going to end my. I'm going to answer this question with a question. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
I'm a very erudite motherfucker. No, you're not, dude. You're stupid and you suck.
But, you know, the whole thing, he's like, I never once implied that I wanted to get rid of the print comics, so where is he getting that idea? You know?
Yeah, he just wants to start a business where they're eliminated.
Yeah, it's like, it sounds like a great idea.
It's like, hey, I want to start a company and make cars that fly. So that means no more fucking tires.
Yeah. You think Goodyear and Firestone, Goodyear and Firestone,
they're not going to be happy about that.
They'll end up getting tuckered.
Hell yeah!
Isn't that the guy who he made the fuel efficient car or something like that, and back in like the '60s or something like that? And
it was Packard.
It was something like that, yeah. And it's like his prototypes started they were out, you know, they would get stolen, they were found in the desert burned and shit like that. It's like
the mob got them.
Well, it was like it was the big three, you know, it was like Ford.
I'm pretty sure they hired the mob to do it. That's the thing.
Oh yeah. But it was funny because he won his court case, but his court case and everything, all the damage and stuff cost so much that he basically couldn't stay in business anyway.
Sort of sounds like combo business.
Yeah. So let's see. Phil Boyle, whose Coliseum Comics is the largest comic. We already read that, didn't we? Okay. He says, Joe Field recently laid out some ongoing concerns for retailers that I agree wholeheartedly with. I've been doing my own analysis of sales over the last several months because, as Joe put it, something has to give. I've spoken to several publishers about these concerns, and though they all seem to have a sympathetic ear when it comes to the plight of the retailers, those fettered by large corporation policies will likely not be able to change things without some major catalyst. As a quick background, comic retailers are currently buying under a plan that, though tweaked over the years, is essentially the same buying structure that was put on the table by Phil Suling 46 years ago. That's another thing I need to mention. In that article about the Mile High closing, they did not mention that the owner also said that they talk about this Phil Suling, but that Rosansky guy was also involved in the whole, basically they were responsible for how Diamond came to be.
So they'd be basically criticizing himself for talking shit about Diamond and how they
because he went on. He was basically saying when back in the day. I mean, because that's why I love those articles that it's like, we're talking about parking and rent and stuff like that. But the actual words from the guy, he says back when you could when you as the store is paying 5 cents a book per book to sell it for 50 cents. You're not losing that much if you don't sell 10 issues. And they go.
Yeah, well, that was also people actually buying them.
Yeah, but he's saying if they ended up going into the long boxes,
the nickel bin or whatever. Yeah.
Right. It's not going to hurt the bottom line because you're not losing that much money. He said,
they'll either break even or barely lose anything on it.
Yeah, he said, but when you take a book that's you're paying $3 for, and the cover price is $6.
Yeah, no, that's a heavy hit. You have to buy dozens to hundreds of them.
Yeah, and then you got to get the certain variants and things like that you need.
Yeah, and you got to pay your fucking rent.
Right. So that's what So they didn't mention that in that article, but that was a good point that
I think one of the biggest things, I think you could solve a lot of this, at least for the local comic book stores kind of it's just lower the price of comics. You have to.
It's either that or, like I said, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get to this. Okay. As one of the supposed old guard at my August 35 years, even I wasn't selling comics when this deal was struck. To add fuel to the fire that were mired in old policy, Diamond's monthly printed discount terms are based on sales data through 2006. So already we're what 13 years outside of when the last times they did sales data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit
that's a lot of. I mean, if it had said 2016, I'd be like, okay, but no, 2006. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, at the very least, they should be looking at data no older than the last 5 years.
Exactly. I don't see this as a Diamond problem as much as a problem that no publisher wants to be the one to put their foot down and make the changes that need to be made. Fleecing the retailer based is wonderful for the bottom line until everyone can't pay their bills anymore. I mean, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, they're basically they're saying, oh, you get it. They're screwing the local retailer guys, which is great because they're making a bunch of money.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, like eventually these guys aren't gonna be paying you anymore.
Right.
So then, how are you gonna You can keep fleecing people, but they're not gonna. You're just gonna run out of people to fleece eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And where's Diamond gonna be?
Exactly. So, let's see. I understand the pressure that publishers have to make sure that the bank account is full at the end of each quarter. I get the whole variance adding to that bottom line, and price structures are safe for publishers. I understand that Diamond has only the funds that their margins allow, so all the wants of the retailer side of things simply can't happen. I also know that Steve Geppi has personally he owns Diamond outright, buoyed many stores through difficult times. I get how all these moving parts work, but I see the plight of retail stores going into 2019 as more than just Amazon and I can't pronounce that word.
I think Ennui.
Ennui, okay.
That's that weird French word I always fuck up. I don't know how to do that.
When it comes to actually reading when video and Kindle are so available. Everyone likes to think we're all partners in bringing comics to the masses. Here's the truth. Despite the best intentions and love of comics by the folks at Marvel and DC, Disney and Warner Brothers / AT&T are not comic fans beyond what it amounts to on the bottom line. We need a change and not a small incremental change. We need a complete sea change. Per above, we need a catalyst as everything will continue like the proverbial frog in the warming pan of water. Here's what's coming in 2019. And of course, in the whole thing, it's like a frog. If a frog is put into like a scalding pot of water, they're going to jump out immediately, right?
Yeah, but if you slowly warm it up, they don't know any better.
And they'll just get cooked. Okay. So here he goes like, what we're going to do is we're going to go through each part all the way to the bottom, and then we'll discuss it, okay? So, all right. So the problem, 90% of the books coming off the stands at the end of their shelf life have zero value as a back issue. After 3 months, many books become box fillers and dead items that take up space. No one is looking for a 3-issue miniseries 6 months removed unless it features a new character and there's a rumor circulating about his/her inclusion in a movie that was possibly greenlit. Between February and October, we had, at cost, nearly $100,000 of books that we have taken off the stands. 60% were instantly unsellable. 30% will language if they're still here in 3 months. My solution: we're looking at each title, and any title that falls into that 90% range is slated for sellout. we used to order for backstock and still will, but on that 10%, but the rest are now on their own. This means we cut to obvious sales. We can chase the higher sales, but the diminishing profits to do so are no longer viable. I estimate this will put a minimum of $20,000 in my pocket each quarter. And what publishers can do. Returnability is only part of the solution. With every issue declining after number 1, retailers cut their orders to keep ahead of the precipitous drop. We can't afford to put $2 of cost into stocking one extra issue of everything in a fleeting hope of selling one more copy. It's roulette and betting on black or red. One you win, the other you lose. So orders continue to drop and there's no seeding copies on the stands. Here's the pitch. Give us a declining match to and then sell us anything above that for 50 cents. I know the math. The first copy costs $10,000. The second and every copy afterwards is 15 to 22 cents. So meet us halfway and sell us seed copies. It removes the need for returnability, puts more books on the stands, and it helps retailers with cash flow. Without this, the sliding sales scale towards zero is hastened, and the more titles get canceled. So let's talk about number 1 here. He's exactly right. Like let's say Iceman, for example. We use that one. If he's got like 10 copies of Iceman, he sells 3, right?
Mm.
And then the rest of those 7 go into the box where nobody's ever going to buy them.
Right.
That's a loss.
Yeah, because those 3 aren't making up what he paid for all of it.
Right, exactly, because he paid for a full slate. Paid for 10 and got, and sold 3. So his idea of, basically cutting down is essentially, he said he's only going, in some instances, he's only going to bring in what's ordered. Like if somebody wants to, a copy of Iceman, that one person is going to get a copy of Iceman. There will be none on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can't blame them.
No, especially if you're having a situation where a majority of the stuff that you're ordering, like, if you're ordering 10, you sell 3, you're just burning your own fucking money.
Right.
You might as well put that stuff on active order only, where it's like, okay, well, if you want this, put it in, this is what you want each month, and I'll make sure it's in stock. So when it comes out, you guys have it.
Right.
But yeah, as a business owner, you can't just be burning money like this.
Right. So
I got to interject real quick.
Yeah.
One, that word is pronounced ennui. Apparently, that's what Mike says.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Caleb came to bully me. I cannot fucking believe this. You Venezuelan son of a bitch. I'm calling him right now. This motherfucker's right here because Final Fantasy's down right now.
Sounds about right.
So
Speaking of some hardcore bullying.
Yeah. I'm just like, looking at the chat here. It's like, oh, it's time for bullying, lads.
Blown the fuck out. Yep, I will actually never recover from any of this. Don't worry about it.
It is truly over for
time for Cab to get sunsetted.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have Ray Los Santos. We don't have Cab. Wait a minute, put him back in here. What do you doing? I always want to play around. God, quit doing that.
Wow. God, having fun.
Quit having fun during the show. And the idea,
hardcore.
But the idea, back to this, the idea of okay, we'll pay for a certain amount at $10 or at $2 a copy, but the rest of them we're paying less.
Right.
That would be a good solution for.
Yeah, if it's like your new X-Men #1 series, right? Okay, we'll pay $2 for that one because people will buy that one. Then after that, we're gonna pay 50 cents for them.
Right. It's like I will order. Let's say I order 50 copies at $2, right? But every copy that I order after that's gonna be 50 cents. Which I think would be a great idea, and that's something the publishers to look into.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. That they need to drop prices straight up. You can't. This is not sustainable because no one's buying them. You can't charge that when no one's buying them.
Mm-hmm. Now here is the one that I like. Number 2, the problem: reboots. No surprise, but every jumping on point creates in its wake a jumping off point. There's a greater concern, though, continuity. No, not continuity of Spider-Man wearing a hat on page 3 when he had his head cut off on page 2. Continuity of series collecting. The industry was built on reading and collecting comics. When you reboot, what has gone on before is no longer valid, which contributes to 90% of the problem. 90% of the mentioned problem in number 1. With the prevalence of reboots, fans no longer feel invested as they know that nothing is any more permanent than the current creative team. My solution: keep making excuses. That's not really a solution, which is why this one is solely on the publishers. What publishers can do: commit to at least a 5-year plan. Even if creative teams change, the numbers shouldn't, so some continuity of series is in place. See, this is what we were talking about on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
See, Cab, you won't hear, but
yeah, I missed Friday's show.
Yeah, we were looking at Captain Marvel as in Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel, right? When she became Captain Marvel, what did it say, 2012? Is when she officially became Captain Marvel?
I think maybe it was a little bit earlier, like 2010.
I think 2012 was the actual relaunch of she was Captain Marvel at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when what's her name? What G. Willow Wilson did the book or whatever.
Right.
Now we guesstimated that the Captain Marvel name probably had 2 previous series before that, so that's what they call volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had 2 volumes. So hers was the 3rd volume. As of this month, Captain Marvel will have reached its 10th volume. That's a new number 1, pretty much. So
yeah, newer number 1, like every few weeks, basically.
How do we figure? So in a span of,
well, think about it this way: if she got the mantle in 2012, let's say, she got 7 volumes in about as many years. So every year she was getting a new #1.
Right. And this was all basically a way to spike sales for a character that nobody cares about. I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why people go and want to read like X-Men back in the day, not now, but you know, X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman and Superman is because they had a continuity, right? Sure, you could jump in at a certain, like when a new creative team comes in. It's like, oh, say, for example, I don't know, got a new writing and artist team, right? And they're coming on. They're going to be the new hotness. Okay, so yeah, you start at like it's issue 725 for Superman. I'm just throwing a number out there, and they're going to have a 12-month run, right? But you're not putting out a new Superman #1 just because a new fucking creative team is in place, you know? Because there's no need for that. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, that was like, remember back in the day, whenever I would look at, you would get like Amazing Spider-Man #400 or something.
Right.
There wasn't Amazing Spider-Man #1 every fucking 6 months.
Right.
It was 400. This one series had probably been going on for probably 20 years at that point.
Probably close to 30 at that point, yeah.
Like it was, I mean, they changed things with continuity and things like, the little wiggle room, but it was a solid like one storyline kind of just flow.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I don't buy comics, because it just changes every few months. It's like, what's the point?
Right.
I'm going to get invested in the story, then Earth 55 came along and something else happened and it's all different now.
Right.
Right.
It's like, that's bullshit. I don't want to read any of that. So that's why I just stuck with the trade paperback of a self-contained story, and then that's it.
Well, see, Marvel does this really stupid thing, and I think I pointed it out one time, where they'll have like, let's say it'll be X-Men #1, like a new #1, right? But then you look underneath it, and it'll have like a couple of letters. I forgot what the letters were, and then it'll have the actual like number. So
yeah, it was a new writing team came in and did some stupid shit, but it really is like number 455 of the series or something.
Right,
like
exactly. And it's just so silly.
But they publish it as a #1.
Yeah, it's so they can spike sales, yeah. Which pretty much leads to the next problem. Problem 3, third problem. First issues. This is the most abusive part of comics ordering. Let's define a first issue before I go on. Any issue ordered with no previous sale data for the title. If it's weekly, every ordered issue before we have a week of sales data is a #1. On a #1 is a #1 for ordering purposes. It's basically saying if they're doing like a weekly release instead of like monthly. So they're saying we got to order issue #1, right? So when we order issue #2, we have no fucking idea if issue #1 was even successful. Because of the way the ordering
it's like with like America Chavez comes out, new character, new #1. Right. They have no idea if that's going to sell, so that should be sold at like 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it takes off, then they can up the price later on. But
exactly.
An unknown, like if it was Wolverine #1, okay, maybe you can get a few more bucks out of it. I get it, but
I think what he's saying is like, especially with if they're doing a weekly release of the book, and considering you got to order these books sometimes months in advance,
Yeah.
So for a 4-week period in, let's say October, you have to order a ongoing series like it's a #1.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to order, if you usually order 20 issues for a #1, you're going to have to order 20 issues for #1, #2, #3, and #4. Because
Comic Girl Ava says, that legacy numbering is useless. Is stupid. Marvel needs to stop with all the useless #1. Yeah. The only reason they do it is just, this is #1 here. We're going to charge you more for it. It's like, no.
Exactly. I appreciate you listening, Ava. Thank you.
I don't know why she listened to our shit. We haven't even said any bad words yet.
Well, I mean, we got Ray Thanos here. I mean, it's just.
I mean, but he hasn't even said the N word yet, so
I have to snap my fingers first, and then.
Oh, is that how that works?
All of a sudden, all of Detroit is gone.
All of Detroit. And most of Atlanta.
Come on, it's gotta be at least Detroit and Chicago. Come on now.
Atlanta's gone. Fucking New Orleans is gone.
All right, let's before we get kicked off YouTube, let's continue.
Jackson, Mississippi has a population of 25 now.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Okay. But basically, say if it's a one shot, it's a number one. If it's a number one, it's a number one. Just clarifying on that one. He was being funny there.
Yeah.
Every number one issue these days seems to be a double sized or larger than normal size issue that adds, excuse me, that adds $1 more to the cover price, exacerbating retail's exposure. My solution.
That ties in just what Comic Girl says. $7.99 is way too much to pay for a comic book.
Oh,
yeah,
exactly definitely. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Like
I bought the thing for the Batman White Knight stuff for $15 because it was $20 retail, but I got it on Amazon.
But you also paid for a trade paperback. You got the entire.
Yeah,
run.
it was like 6 or 7 comics in one.
Yeah, exactly.
$8 for a single issue. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think when I got it digitally on Comixology, it was like $12 for that first volume or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which again was like the first issues or something.
Yeah.
Oh, what, Batman White Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got what I did, and it was just a digital version, so you pay a little bit less, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go.
Not by much.
So here's the solution. If it's a weekly series, it's predatory publishing, and it gets subs-only orders. 0 for the stance. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Because...
Yeah, if someone's coming in saying, I want the weekly American Chavez comic, and I'll buy... It's on my pull list, I guess, or whatever you call it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. So that means
yeah,
he
okay,
orders...
fine. Then I'll order for you and your friend or whatever who's coming in buying it too. That's cool.
Yeah. So basically...
I'm not ordering 20 of them.
Yeah, he's going to order one. You know,
yeah.
Essentially. And it says, sell out in 3 months. No one will remember it anyways.
I mean, not wrong.
Dude, this guy is throwing so much fucking shade at the Marvel writers.
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's great. If it's a horribly priced number one, we order to sell out. There will be a second and there will be a second printing if there's a great book. That's true. Like, if it's actually good, there'll be another printing. So they can just order more copies, you know. We're done chasing incentives. We rather chase profits. On one-shots, we order subs and what we feel will be a guaranteed sellout, which is what we think will sell might sell minus 20%. This goes for any second issue as well that we have to order before number one hits the stands. What publishers can do: set a reasonable number based on a similar book, which should not be 3 times one of the mega crossover events. That's a good point. It's like Civil War is going to outsell America, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's automatic. But I shouldn't have to order the same amount of America, because Civil War is selling well,
Right. Yeah.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, and they happen to be in one issue of Civil War somewhere.
Right.
It's like, who cares?
Anything above that, sell it to us at the aforementioned 50 cents. It would provide more sell-in, and more copies of the book on the stands. If we don't have number ones, then our chances of selling number twos fall to immeasurably low numbers. Now, here's a good one. This next one's really good, too. The problem: special covers from issue to issue. This is predatory publishing. 14 covers on issues 1, 4, and on 2, one of which is a Scotty Young variant, and one of which is a promotion of the month cover. Number 3 has 1 cover, but number 4 has 3 covers again. This is an obvious ploy to keep retailers from gauging actual interest in the title, and inevitably leads to unsold books on the stands. Without some degree of stability, we're ordering blind. And that's the thing with special covers, because usually what they do is, like, you have to order 10 of the regular covers to get 1 special cover, right?
If I represented all the comic book stores to, I was the agent for them to Diamond.
Yeah.
I'd be, and then by extension to Marvel and DC, I would say, look, you get in your number ones, you get 1 variant cover. Mm-hmm. This better be your special one. You blow it out, you hire a dude, he's getting thousands of dollars for this one.
Yeah.
That's your 1 for number 1.
Yeah.
Later on, maybe a number 10 issue or a number 50 or whatever, you'll get another variant.
Like an anniversary style issue.
Like an anniversry, yeah. We'll give you a couple each year.
So you can kind of gauge when the
like a big milestone. When if the book
the book made it a year, so we're going to do a variant for number 12.
Yeah, so if it makes it a year, okay, then this is the story arc where this character dies or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Now then
you can have another variant cover.
Now here's the funny thing about that. Marvel recently got the rights back for Conan, right? Mm-hmm. Their number 1, I'm not kidding you, has 50 variant covers.
God damn.
Jesus fuck.
And they make them buy so many of each, don't they?
Probably so if they want them all. You know, they have to get order a certain amount.
If they want the number one, they have to buy some of each. Is what they're saying.
Essentially, but isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
That's basically saying that's at least 50 that you have to buy. You know, but I'm
Right.
sure it's going to be like you have to buy 10 of each. Or something silly like that, you know.
So you have like 200 comic books that may sell out, but there's no one coming in to get more.
Right.
And it might take you 6 months to sell them out.
Yeah.
You know, the question I have is this: they have all these fucking variant covers that they want to plaster on their books. Why doesn't Marvel, instead of making these comic book stores order, 10 of your regular, number one to get any of the variant covers? Why don't they just sell the variant covers as a fucking art book?
See,
Yeah, sell them on your store. Like sell them. They put a fucking store up on, fucking Amazon.
yeah.
Not even that. Just like if you want to sell like physical copies of it, fucking sell that shit as an art book. You could charge, if you wanted to, like $1 per cover that's gonna be in that. I know people will still fucking buy that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Most of the current art from Marvel doesn't warrant the quality prints, and also popularity in there. It just bleeds away. Yeah, the thing is like you get all these variant covers and they're all shit anyway.
Yeah.
So
See, a good portion of Marvel.
See, Ava said before that, which is a good point. They need to go back to newsprint. I prefer it to the glossy paper stock. If Alterna can release a comic at $1.50 price point, surely Marvel can. See, that's something I'll get into later.
I think trade paperback should be glossy. But
exactly. When you go to trade,
yeah,
when you go to trades, that's a different story because then you're paying for the premium. You know,
you're paying a premium for like a well put together collection.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're purposely trying to kill the comic book industry. We've been saying for like a while, right, that we believe that Marvel and DC are just IP holders at this point, right?
Yeah.
They're just a resource they can tap into to make movies for like Warner and Disney.
Yeah, as long as they don't cost them too much money, Disney and Warner Bros. Doesn't give a shit. So that's why the writers kind of have free reign to just pull all their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but the thing is like, okay, whatever, that's business. Okay, that's how capitalism works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is, business capitalism also works in a chain.
Mm-hmm.
This affects how Diamond operates, so they put up this predatory bullshit, and then that in turn affects the local comic shop people who are the ones paying for basically Disney and Warner Brothers for not giving a shit.
Right.
They're not like putting on any kind of quality control filters on this stuff. Like, look, you can't write about Iceman suddenly gay and have really bad art for your comic. Right. You have to like tighten it up. We'll throw some money at you to get better artists, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta,
you quit putting out shit kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So
here's the thing. Here's a one quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
What So a lot of businesses are always about the next quarter,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at some point, if you're going to be a business, like if you're a major corporation and you plan on being around 20 years from now, like Disney does, you have to think long term. And what this does is it cheapens their IPs. Like all of us, they're going to wear down like Marvel stuff. No one's going to give a shit about wanting to see Iron Man anymore, or like kind of like what they did with Star Wars. Star Wars IP is almost dead now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be hot as hell for 30 years, but now it's like people don't give a shit anymore.
They literally, with one movie, they killed their fucking franchise.
I mean, it took its series, but they killed something that was going strong as hell for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right. But Cab, here's the thing that you're not really understanding, because you fundamentally fucked up with the thing of like when you said if they would expect to be around for 20 more years, they're not thinking about that.
Well, I know they're not.
But that's the thing. That's why they don't give a shit.
The meta is like, yeah, we'll be around, but they're not thinking of how they're going to get there 20 years from now.
Well, yeah, of course not.
They think they're going to be 20, yeah, then they probably will be because they have so much fucking money and own everything. But
well, yeah. I mean, I think eventually, yes, the bottom for all this is going to drop out, but it's going to take a while because as we have seen, especially when it comes to film, I mean, we can all admit that The Last Jedi was a horrendously terrible film, right?
Caleb, stop my evil nephew.
As bad as that movie is,
as
bad as that movie was, it still made a shitload of money.
Yeah,
here's the reason why, because of the Chinese.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, I know, but that's the thing. It's like, yeah, they don't care about the American market anymore. They care about the Chinese. But I think that's the reason why Marvel and DC and a lot of these places, they don't really care about where they're hemorrhaging money, especially as it pertains to the American market, because the Chinese will make up for it.
Yeah, that's what they think. That's the thing too, is that the long term, that's what they think that's going to happen. But as we've seen recently, not so much. You see a lot of companies who are really hedging their bets, or not hedging their, they put a lot of stock into the Chinese market. All of a sudden, getting fucking nailed, like Apple.
Yeah, Apple's eating shit right now
because the Chinese market is slowing down massively. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though, is that they're also not like it's talking about IP. It's not something you can quantify in money, like how much people love Luke Skywalker. You know, you can say, oh, they buy so many, character, action figures and video games, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what necessarily keeps him going for 30 years. It's a little bit more that's the intangible. They're not really paying attention to that, and that's what they're wearing down in the American market. And then then eventually the Chinese they don't care. They don't have a culture of like, oh, I went to Star Wars as a kid, or And these I have fond memories of these things. These just dudes sitting around being sociopaths, going to the movies on weekends because they can.
Yeah. And also, Cab, you're telling me that a government-controlled economy is not sustainable? Is that what you're?
I'm trying to say the communist style or authoritarian economies are not sustainable in the long term. No.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's
big news. I know.
Got a big think over here, right here.
Oh no! Put on my thinking hat.
So let's get back to this. So his solution is ordering a sellout, then ordering blind. So essentially, he's just going to order what he thinks is going to sell.
Yeah, that's a little bit of guesswork and a little bit of data you have locked away because, like, these people like Wolverine, so the new Wolverine's coming out. Yeah, they'll probably buy 30 of these or something.
It's like, he says, before anyone cries I'm being the maker of my own low sales prophecy by cutting orders, let me assure you that each of my stores will continue to carry the iconic characters and books championed by staff. So yeah, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, etc. will still be on the shelves. It's just
because those are the ones people buy.
Yeah. Most fans can't afford to buy all the comics they want, so removing the 4-issue spinoff barely sequitur to anything miniseries from their options will actually be a relief. I hate making fans think that they need to buy every nuanced tie-in when they can enjoy the books they read and are excited about without muddying that experience. And what publishers can do, call the stand-filling minis. I know what it's talking about, miniseries and things like that lead to nothing. It's like,
that's what I've said on other shows. They need to cut down like a lot of what they do.
Yeah.
And just focus on the core series.
I remember one of the gripes, besides that the stories were terrible, when DC went, did the New 52. My biggest gripe, besides the books were terrible, was that they, the whole thing is like, we're going to have 52 new #1s. That was too much.
Yeah, that's about, I would say, 40 too many.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been like maybe 20 new #1s. Should have been your core. Maybe even 15, like twin. It's like your core characters. It should have been Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. Honestly, to start off, that's what I would have stuck with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and have maybe like maybe not necessarily about them specifically, but like maybe what's the bad guy Justice League called? Don't they have one?
The either the Injustice Gang or the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, I would have like a comic about like you have all your heroes and then like one or two like villain comics like Harley Quinn and that kind of shit. Poison Ivy or something.
Right.
Joker.
Let's see. So yeah. Okay. So that's the problem. Let's get to this here. The problem: discounts. I have all the expected expenses for business. Labor is on the rise. Insurance costs have skyrocketed. After 7 years of double-digit growth, sales have been mostly flat over the last 2 years. Prices go up, but it just means fewer comics sold for more money. And that's the rub, because that was like the thing they were making a big deal, like Marvel.
We made $100 billion.
We made the exact same amount of money we did last year somehow selling fewer books. There's a reason for that. You jacked the price up, you idiots.
I've only sold 50% of the books that I did last year,
but I also raised the price
by 50%. Yeah. How did this work?
Yeah. The math is I can no longer allow publisher space at 50% non-returnable discount. The sales tail is too short, and the variables are too many to accurately gauge sell-through. I have 2,000 dedicated fans of all things geeky coming through my coming through my doors each week. You get access to them, my smiling staff, my well-lit stores, and our reputation as a great comic book store. I'm paying a lot to provide that. You have expenses, I have mine. That Marvel can sell recent $4.99 books to Walmart that go for $3 for $5 means that the cost of these books are substantially cheaper than what they could be sold to us for. That's a good point.
That's sort of true, because the thing is, Marvel will buy them in massive bulk.
Well, Walmart.
Comic book stores aren't buying them
Walmart.
in hundreds of thousands of
Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why they get away
Marvel.
with that. Why would Marvel buy their own books?
Whatever. You know what I mean? Walmart. Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
man.
But I get what he's saying.
Such a point. What he's saying is the point is correct. Like, those books do not cost Marvel $5,
right,
to make, or $4.50, whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, if you could sell the same books that are for $3 for $5, it's
they can still make money on it. Yeah, they can knock the price down substantially for these things.
So my solution: subs only on non-returnable books that are 50% or less discount. We have so many books to choose from now that I can literally cut 40% of titles and almost no one will notice. Jesus.
Yeah, that's what they don't buy that shit.
As breadth is a recipe for diminishing return, fewer can be better. Make me need to carry your product. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like stats in an MMO. It's like it gets to a point where, I've got like 32% on my hit percentage. If I go 34, it's not really changing much. If I go to 40%, I haven't really changed much. Because after that 32%,
to get to that 40%, you have to go substantially higher or whatever bullshit you got to jump hoops through.
Yeah, you got to get out to get a noticeable difference in your hit chance. You'd have to go to like 50% or more to get. So I can see what you're talking about, diminishing return. So what publisher can do, if you can't exceed 50%, give me free incentive copies to make up for it. 1/5, not even a special cover. Same cover is fine/preferred. Buy 5, get 1 more free. If I'm buying non-returnable, the conversation needs to start at 60% with incentives for growing the market. Now, here's a good one too. The problem: books without a market. If I'm selling less than 10 copies as a chain store of 8 stores, then it's subscription only. See, that's ridiculous. You think about this. Like we like to use we're going to use America, for example. So he has 8 stores and he sells less than 10 copies throughout his stores. That's crap.
Yeah, that's real fucking bad.
Yeah, that's crap. Okay, so only carrying. We only had a 73% sell through over 6 months for a 30% profit. As such, books are selling pretty much only to special orders. When a customer drops the title, we eat it. So let's use before it got canceled. Let's use Border Town, for example, right? So somebody ordered Border Town, right?
Doubt.
I'm just somebody did. There's somebody out there who did.
All right, maybe hypothetically, this person may have ordered.
Let's say he's like, okay. Let's say he didn't know the background of the Javier Escuela, and he.
All right.
I laugh every time I say that. So, like I say, he didn't know the background of Eric Estrada, right? So,
yeah.
And so he bought number 1. He said, "Man, this book is crap." And so he had ordered number 2, right? Because that's how pull lists work, right? So he tells them
the store already ordered it.
Yeah. So he comes in to get his pull list for the next month, and he sees Border Town number 2. He's like, "Nah, man, I don't want that." And so they take it out. And he said, "I don't want to drop my sub for it." So now they're stuck with an extra copy of Border Town that's not going to sell, right?
All the Border Towns don't sell this.
Well, I mean, I know that. I'm just saying. I'm just using that as an example. Hey.
No, I get it. I'm just shitting on Border Town because it was fucking terrible.
Hey,
Calm down, Thanos.
Taco and I are finally here. Yay, we got the cats watching. By the way, I noticed I say that must be a good cat because we hold that cat's attention really well, apparently.
Yeah, man.
He likes our dulcet tones.
Well, Sporkable like posts pictures of she'll have it on a monitor and the cat's just staring at the monitor. I was like, wow, we must be pretty good.
Maybe what if we're like ASMR for cats?
I mean, if you think about it, listen to our fucking voices. I could totally see that.
Yeah, like we all got fairly low voices, but and maybe they just love that shit.
Like, hey, how you doing?
Hello, Taco.
Hey, I'm gonna see if we get any reaction. Hey, Taco. I said I shouldn't talk to a cat like a dog, should I? That's kind of
No, cats don't respond. They just look at you like you're stupid.
yeah. That's what
I mean, some cats do though. I've had a couple of cats that thought they were fucking dogs.
they start jumping around and doing dumb shit.
I had a cat that used to fetch.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend's cat will do that. It blew my fucking mind. I've never seen a cat do that.
She looked at the TV. Nice. She probably was like, "Wow, they're crazy people. What's going on?" I love the part of the show, to be honest. Like, interacting with the audience, it's great.
Oh,
Okay, so we did books out on market. My solution: subs only on low sales book titles. I'll be raising this to 15 copies after the first quarter. Yeah, subs only. I agree, subs only. You know, just if they only get it if they order it. You know, what publishers can do if a book is shipping and my customers don't know about it before they come into the store, then it's just another book on the stands. Many creators do a wonderful job of sending customers after their work. Too many launch unknown. Promote. Oh wow! So you're saying that a fucking artist and a writer should promote their books instead of fussing about what's going on with?
Yeah, I was about to say this
instead
is
of
a
saying-
jab at all.
Instead of saying
fucking
Orange Man
asshole
bad,
writers.
maybe they should be like, buy my book.
Yeah, instead of Gail Simone trying to get her fans to go out there fucking Ethan or something like that.
Yeah. How about
So why don't you promote your dumb shit, you ham beast?
damn dog.
You rancid bitch. Is that too much?
Oh no! Holy crap! Holy crap! Oh god! Oh jeez! Hey,
Jesus.
hey, Josh, if you're listening, I need this clip. It's at it was at 1 hour and 5 minutes. Just clip that entire section. Oh man, this is why we have Race Realist Thanos on our show.
I ain't even got it in the race rules part yet, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So here we go.
Avis says they're too busy calling customers Nazis, but yeah, that's
Yep, they're right.
they're just doing the performance bullshit that they do on Twitter and.
Well, it's
wherever
like
else.
what's his name? Was it that Donnie Coates the other day coming out and like,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's like, I mean, basically, yes, he did the right thing by saying, "You Tumblr idiots are stupid. I'm not making Venom gay." You know. And then when people said, "Oh yeah, you know, good point," you know, people like us, it's like, yeah, hey, good, you know, that's actually a good point, man. Just write your story, you know, kind of thing, and stuff like that. And then, of course, when they found out it was those evil Comicsgate people, it's like, oh, I can't, you know, I don't want to, you're not using. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, so
Yeah, he made a good point, and then all of a sudden, it's like Comicsgate people are like, yeah, you made a good point, dude. And then it's like, oh no,
yeah,
all of a sudden did make a good point.
Yeah,
Like, that's not how it works.
I did all of a sudden did make a good point, yeah.
I forgot to flip the switch. Orange Man bad.
Oh yeah.
Hold on one sec.
Okay.
Dark Admiral March Hare said butter golem.
Butter.
Damn.
That's a good one. I never heard that. Like those two words put together, I just never heard of it.
That's I need a Cab. You're an artist. You need to make a. You need to draw a butter golem. Yeah.
I might actually do that.
Fucking butter golem. Holy shit.
The English language has existed for like, I don't know, what, 1,000 years or so?
Yeah, and you got
I don't know if butter golem has ever been put together.
exactly.
In like a single phrase.
You were getting you're getting a creative what do you call it? A creative credit on that one.
Yeah, you're breaking ground here.
Yeah, you did a good job. I'm proud of you.
You have advanced the English language. Congratulations.
And Ava said about Donnie Coates. Yeah, he didn't want to get kicked out of the club. I mean, that was it. I guarantee you his inbox went crazy. After.
Oh, he probably had Gail Simone, fucking Mark Waid. Every person.
Can you hear it now?
You better not say this.
Do you know what you just did? You piece of shit.
You know I will get you. You know I will get you fired, you motherfucker.
Do you know how much control I have over your career, you piece of fucking shit?
I can imagine Mark Waid like breathing heavily into a phone, yelling at someone on like a fucking voicemail.
Do you think she puts a modulator over voice? My name is not important, but it is Gail Simone.
No, I'm thinking that's more of a Mark Waid thing because that guy's like a complete psycho.
R.I.P. headphone wearer. It's like, look, if you don't like it, you turn me to fuck. Look, y'all complain about me being too quiet, and now you complain about me doing too fucking loud. I don't hear that shit no more. It makes sense as EVS's nemesis. Oh yeah, Butter Golem. It does make perfect sense.
Dude, we need to pitch We need to pitch him the character of Butter Golem.
Yeah, and give it
fight to fight Cyberfrog.
Yes. Land Whale Gale probably DM him to tell him that CG is problematic. I like it. Land Whale Gale.
Land Whale Gale.
The spice is on full force today. Jesus.
I like the way, I think it was last week, Cecil spelled Gale. He spelled it Ghale. That's butter nobody wants to lick.
That's the butter you left on the thing with no cover for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, Ethan has that song he sings was the I licked all the butter in the fridge or something like that.
Oh yeah. Okay, I get.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, we mentioned Ethan Van Sciver. Praise be to his holy name.
Amen.
Yeah.
I still don't like him. Just in case.
Yeah, exactly. What were we doing? Oh, yeah. Okay, so my solution for published dues. If a book is shipping, we already read that, didn't we? Yeah. Give me an incentive to carry number 2 as number 1 is too often a speculator-driven sale. That is true. That's true. Because if you sell, like if number 1 sells 100,000, but then number 2 drops to like 25, that should, You know what I mean?
Yeah, you shouldn't be buying number 3 yet. Oh, the first one sold 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, yeah, that's not how it works, dude.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, once it gets below 10 copies right now, we stop tracking it. Which means it's on death watch. Man, this guy, he went
imagine he's a cork board with like death watch on it, and this is a Superman number or whatever it is. Or
do you think he's tying a string to each part of his manifesto right now? It's like, and then we do this, and it was this.
Oh, I think he's writing it on like papyrus, and he's gonna mail it to fucking Marvel with like and maybe with a bomb or something. I don't know. With
a bomb, I don't think it would be a bomb. He should send it, with those Egyptian people who would like come and read the scroll from the Pharaoh, like.
Oh yeah.
This guy just like dressed in all the Egyptian guards shows up in Marvel's publishing house and just like opens the scroll and he's like, "Here, yeah."
No, dude, he should get it in like these robes and cut his hair all fucked up and like nail it to their door like Martin Luther.
Yeah, he was right. They used to cancel books that sold under 50K. That was back in the day. That was a failure. 50,000 books.
Yeah, I remember. Way back in the 90s when I was doing comic book stuff, and they were selling hundreds of thousands of issues every issue.
There was I remember when Deadpool, the first run of Deadpool in his ongoing series, not the miniseries. There was a point where there was rumors of it getting canceled. And, of course, fans were like, why is it getting canceled? And Marvel explained, well, it's poor sales, So, honestly, it was one time Marvel said, like, kind of, well, if you want us to keep the book, you got to buy them, right? And guess what? Sales spiked. Because Marvel was encouraging people to buy their books instead of saying, oh, we're just, whatever.
Yeah, that's sort of what Marvel does. Now they're trying to do the lifestyle brand shit, and then their fucking writers are acting stupid as hell on social media, and it's like they're not even a fucking business.
Right. The rare variants barely move at my LCS. I was guilty of buying all the Scotty Young covers until I realized they were a crutch and awful books. I mean, yeah, that's yeah. Nowadays, you got writers that are proud of selling 24,000 copies. Yeah, you're right about that too. So hey, look at my mediocre book selling mediocre numbers.
Yeah, dude. If you were an executive over at Marvel 25 years ago, and you said, "Oh, this book sold 25,000 copies," he would have told you, "Get the fuck out of his office. He don't want to see you again."
There was somebody, I forgot what stream I was watching, but somebody said like, "What if Marvel really wanted to succeed? They should bring back Jim Shooter as the editor in chief of Marvel, because the first thing he would do is clean house, because he's like that old school like kind of guy. Because that's what he did back in the day. Is like Marvel, like things weren't going well, he just get rid of people. You know, he didn't fuck around. You know, like,
Right, he didn't give a shit.
because there was like Marvel had this really weird thing back in the day, and I would say it's probably the same except for the extra step. Mediocre book, you mean Mags? Yeah, the old Mags. But essentially, a writer or an artist, either one, could end up being what they would call a writer editor or an artist editor. So essentially, they'd edit their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that was a problem because nobody had oversight.
There wasn't a central figure saying, "Okay, this doesn't work with this. We need to fix
right,
this."
So somebody was just telling, because I think they said there was one month that shooter he got really pissed off about. It's like apparently one guy wrote a story about the Phoenix and somebody else was writing a story about the Phoenix at the same time, and there were two totally different stories that didn't make no sense together.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what's going on here, guys? It's like, well, you know, what are you doing? So Jim Shooter started going through when there was time to re-up contracts. He was taking away that editor, you know, that special editor position,
right?
Because it was stupid. You know, he said, no, we need actual editors to look over this shit.
Yeah, you need like one or two guys to like oversee everything to make sure it all continuity and art's up to par and all. Yeah,
yeah.
You can't have everyone. Basically, it's basically like grading your own fucking homework.
Exactly. It's all right.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
of course
like
you're all gonna get it.
The teacher said, "All right, kids, grade your own homework." Well, I got 100. You know?
Yeah, 105.
Yeah,
what you talking about?
Yeah, I got extra credit. How'd you get? I gave myself extra credit. But what I'm saying,
my name correctly.
What I'm saying is it's kind of the same now, but with an extra step is that we have editors who don't give a shit. So it's a very similar situation.
I would get like a guy that he's not part of the club. He does not give a fuck about being friends with these people or anything. Like, he just like, look, dude, I'm just here to get a paycheck and make sure this company's in the fucking black. That's it.
Right.
If you don't do that, then get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So you mean get an actual fucking businessman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get like a real business guy. That's what people are like. Oh, you need an artist. No, you don't. You need a business guy for a business.
That's that's why, you know, it was mentioned Jim Shooter, because he had no sympathy when it came to that stuff.
He was that kind of guy. He just did not care.
Yeah, he didn't care. It's like, if it didn't sell, fuck it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, like today you have people who are called editor, right? But they're not doing anything. Because I've seen many times where like Marvel books have come out and they've had misspellings, you know, in the fucking, you know, words, bubbles and stuff like that.
So you're saying CB Cebulski is not doing his fucking job?
Well, see, editor in chief is like kind of like
well, I know he oversees like
they're overseeing,
everyone.
but if he don't care, then why should the editor care? You know.
That's a good. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if eventually he stops at the top. Like, if you're Cebulski and you're getting this shit, like, he's got to know this stuff's going on.
Yeah.
There's no way, because it's the business is so small and all the crap that's getting over his head. He's got to. I mean, unless he's just not looking at it, which is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
he could be doing that, but like, he's got to see what's going on, but he just doesn't do shit about it.
It goes back to something you said a while back. These people are hiring their friends.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just a little group of friends.
They talk about like, quote, gatekeeping in the comic book industry. They're the gatekeepers. They made themselves the gatekeepers.
Yeah, like, I legit can draw better than some of the people that work for Marvel right now.
Yeah, we've told you that.
And if I went to Marvel, like, say I put together a whole thing and make some comic book, you know.
Mm-hmm. What happened? Did he die? Did everybody die?
No.
Huh?
You didn't say anything for like 5 seconds. What's going on?
Oh, I didn't?
No.
I heard him.
Maybe on your end, dude. You need to.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Get a better rank.
Well, here's the thing: if I didn't hear it, they didn't hear it. So you got to say it again. So go ahead.
Well, my point is that even with, like, if I could do a better job for the same price as these guys, there's no way in hell they would let me in the comic book industry if I wanted to do it. Because I'm not part of the group. I don't, say the right things, and I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
It's not merit. Like, I could bring the best shit ever, and they would not. They're like, get out of here, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
By the way, what happened to the feed on your screen, dude? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. I was. Jordan.
It was Butter Golem.
He found a Butter Golem.
Oh, you found a Butter
Golem? Yeah. Well, Josh had found it and put it in chat, and I was like, yeah, I'll put it in.
Oh,
here.
okay, nice.
But I think you can make a better Butter Golem, in all honesty.
All right, I'll consider it. I got a lot of shit going on right now.
Let's see. But
Look at this nigga acting like he's busy or something.
right.
I legit like I don't really say that like for real, but I actually am pretty busy.
Okay, let's go to number 7. Try to get through this. Number 7, the problem: rushed and inconsistent scheduling. The publisher had delays, so we don't see a title for 2 months, and then we see 3 issues in 5 weeks. This may help the publisher's bottom line, but it destroys our sales tail and diminishes sales. My solution: when this pattern occurs, I'll automatically assume the burnout from overexposure is going to cost us 10% of readers. I'll be making those cuts at FOC. I forgot what FOC means. It's a term. What publishers can do: if you're late, suck it up. Don't make us retailers pay for your problem.
Yeah, that's another thing with like the business side of it. You need to get a guy late, and okay, fine, we're fucking late. We're not gonna like shut. They needed like a consistent schedule,
Right.
and then they need to come up with a schedule to back that up in case things don't work perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think of like contingencies and stuff like that. Like I said, you need a fucking businessman, not these assholes who live in their studio apartments in New York.
I got my degree in the liberal arts.
Yeah.
And I think I could run this company. Like, no.
Yeah, like I get the hesitations. Like, oh, you don't understand the art. He wants to like just make money. It's like, yeah, okay, but the thing is these businesses are failing so bad.
Yeah.
That you need to have just a hardcore motherfucker to go in there and fix it.
Exactly.
Sort of like it's almost like why Trump got elected. He's just a giant asshole, man. But things are like so fucked up. They're like okay, fine, just let him go and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to straighten shit out.
FOC is front or counter, I think. I don't know. It might be. It was a term. I just can't. I'd have to look it up. Or Jordan.
That sounds like point of sale, POS.
It's kind of like a POS, yeah, like almost like a point of sale.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So anyway, that was his solution for that. I'll just like that. If you're late, suck it up. I like that's great. Like you fucking, hey assholes, it's not my fault that you're late. You know. And here we go. Another problem: promo items. I love nice promo items. Customers love them to some degree, but even the nicest postcard is often found in the trash can right outside the store. Customers are overwhelmed with advertisements. Some look for those that target them and react. The problem is publishers have broad brush promotional item and then want to sell it to us. My solution: nope, not paying for your promotions. You're selling us non-returnable product with limited information, and then you want to charge us to promote it? Nuh-uh, not happening. Send us the promo items at no cost if it's going to raise my sales. I might give you free counter space or free labor to bag stuff then. What publishers can do. When I opened Coliseum of Comics, I did it on my own dime and didn't realize a profit for several years. Yeah, people don't realize that, but sometimes businesses take a while to actually make money,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of them aren't profitable for like the first 3 years.
Yeah. Publishers seem to want to put out a new comic to instant profit. This is a broad brush statement, but we're talking about broad brush promos. Give us a minor co-op budget to print our own flyers. Co-op can take the form of funds, added discounts, or added product. So let's face it, we're not exactly partners, but we are all sitting at the same buffet, but the crumbs at the retail end of the table seem to be dwindling. We need to be partners. Some could survive via online and mail order, but far too many people would lose their livelihood if another 500 stores closed. There's a point where the system in place cannot be sustained by the surviving entities. I have 12 years of new comic sales data, but I look at the last issue when ordering comics as there's no pattern to the free fall. If this doesn't disturb you, it should. I am a single voice, but I'm not alone in my concerns. And the reason why this guy had to put out an article like this is because you had I think it was like a year ago or 2 years ago when at like one of the Comic Cons, I think it was like New York Comic Con, when the retailers got up and said, "Hey, we have a problem, and it's your shitty books." Essentially, they were basically told they were Nazis. Essentially.
Yeah, that's the like, oh, you hate black people. So what? No, I didn't even. What? It's like, I didn't talk about black people. I talk about sales, man. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So, Wayne, I just got a message from Mike. Apparently, FOC is final. Was it
final order cutoff?
Final order cutoff. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That means basically we're not ordering anymore of that. Essentially, I got you. So nicely thought out promo items for loyal customers can work, but geez, charging the LCS for them? Yeah, exactly. It's like I remember, when I worked at GameStop, we would get promo shit all the time, right?
Yeah, like
Mhm.
every other business. Like I've worked at a damn convenience store, and we would get like these fucking cardboard boxes full of like Reese's cups.
Mm-hmm.
We got all that crap like free, like not the Reese's cups obviously, but like the stuff to put them in and the
Yeah.
weird shit that comes with it. We just had to put them together, which is labor technically. So
Yeah.
they were making out on it. But the thing is, we didn't pay for the box.
Yeah.
Put that shit in. They
Yeah.
just gave it to us.
So basically,
I
if you
can just
want
give it to it. Like customers would ask for weird shit sometimes, like when it was empty, like we're done to do anything. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you want this weird sign, take it.
Mhm.
yeah, so basically, if they had like a nice poster that came in, that means they had to pay
Yeah.
for it to put that out to be able to promote shit. That's ridiculous.
Well, hell, one of the things, like, we'd get promotional items that we could raffle off to our customers,
Mhm.
because every year we would do the Children's Miracle Network,
Mhm.
and what we do is we'd raffle off like Budweiser, like beer signs and all this other crazy shit, and not once did one of our vendors be like, "All right, but the company needs to pay us for this shit." They're like, "No, we'll give it to you for free." So I don't understand why, you know.
Yeah, like
promotional
if
material, why-
if you're hitting up Coca-Cola,
Mm.
they don't give a shit about their signs.
No, they don't. They're
Even-
like, "Is it
even
gonna
if it's
sell
like
more?"
a-
Okay, good.
Yeah, even if it's like a neon one, like electric one that they'll fancy it up sometimes.
Mhm.
They don't make you pay for that stuff.
It's basically, oh, you need.
Yeah,
to
you just
it's
put
like,
it
oh,
up.
you need.
All they do is say, look, you have to you have to put up the space that we're paying for or whatever. That's
Mhm.
it, and you have to have it. Make sure it works.
That's kind of how it worked at
That's about
GameStop too. It's like, okay, Activision is paying for this much floor space, so you got to make sure they have 2 feet by whatever.
Yeah, see, Undefined says that should be a part of their advertising. Yeah, they should eat that cost because they have to sell the book. They're the ones selling the fucking books. The comic book stores are just where the people go to get them.
Did
Mhm.
this promotional behavior get better or worse as a result of Disney's procurement? So that's a good question, and it's not just Disney. We got to look at it's also DC, and DC is owned by Time Warner, AT&T. So that's a good,
Both of them, like, is it just Marvel doing this, or is it both of them doing this,
that's a good
or is
question.
it Diamond making them do it?
It could be Diamond making them do it. I mean, that's the thing. I want to think I'd have to ask. I have a friend who used to do. I had a comic book shop years ago. I'd have to ask if it, like, for promo stuff, did he have to pay for it, or if it's if back then you actually got, if you sold Marvel and DC, then they just sent you some stuff because
How long ago are we talking about?
It's been a while. It's about like 2000,
Like 20 years?
like 2000 or something like that. But like I said, a lot of things has changed since then. So
Yeah, I guarantee you back then they gave just like, oh, here's a Superman poster with fucking flyers
yeah,
that are you put in with the bags of the customers whenever they buy something or something,
yeah.
And I guarantee you get that for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right. Because I know with man, and granted, GameStop is because it's a retailer itself, but all that stuff would get for free, like Activision posters, any like a lot of the stuff. Like if you went into a GameStop in the last 15 years, a lot of the promo stuff you see is up in sections. It's like the PC section will have like a Lich King, thing for Warcraft or something like that.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
it was always when like Call of Duty came out, they had fucking posters and they had like little
Yeah.
stand-in soldier guys,
Mhm.
cardboard mans, and yeah, that kind of shit.
So
And
or the 360.
I know for a fact that people would come in and ask for those things after and then after the promo, whatever was done,
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah,
they would say like, yeah, whatever, here you go, or the guy would be like, yeah, give me $5 for it or some bullshit like that.
right. I mean, we usually gave that stuff away, except for the two
Yeah.
Batman Arkham Asylum posters that I have in my closet right now.
Oh,
One-
you stole some, dude?
No, I didn't steal them. They were done with the promotion, but this one guy said, "I want them." So I was like, "Oh," and my manager promised it to him. But the thing is, I was the one taking them down that night, so I put them in my car. Fuck them. Fuck that guy.
That's not very good customer service, dude. You should let him have one, dude. Come on,
We only had 2, and I wanted them both.
you greedy motherfucker.
I'm gonna say greedy some bitch.
Well, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give him the thing that was free in the first place.
Stole from the
Here's what-
company.
Josh, he says, just try to I can't say that word.
Tertiary.
Tertiary. Stuff. But I used to be a part of a street cruise for punk ska band promotions. They send out promo. Dude, punk and ska like stuff is like the most like not I wouldn't say bottom basement, but like low budget, like shoestring kind of shit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Because
even
they're all like just small time bands and small labels and shit. And even them sending people stuff out for free.
yeah. Somehow Marvel and DC can't afford to send out shit for free.
Yeah, somehow Disney they can't give you a damn Superman poster.
Yeah.
or a little rack to put on your counter with a brand new Superman comic that you put it in.
Oh, don't bring up racks now. We can't have spinner racks. Let's get out of here with that bullshit.
Why can't we have spinning racks?
Because apparently, I don't know.
Are they Nazi dog whistle or something? I don't know. I don't know. Nowadays, everything is. So I mean, shit.
I had to take honestly, I probably should just give them away. Because I have nowhere to put them. I should give the posters away. I think I'll take.
I stopped collecting all that shit a long time because it's like, what's the point, man? It just looks stupid. I don't.
Well, the thing that was cool about it was that really cute. Remember it was that cover to Batman Arkham Asylum. That really cool Batman, and then it also had a Joker, right? So,
did you get the poster where it had like remember that Batman game that had like all the fucking scores it got from magazines and.
No, I didn't have that one. No, I know what you're talking about though.
You should have said that one.
The Game of the Year version, yeah.
Game of the one with the white cover and it was just shit all over it.
It was supposed to be the Game of the Year edition and it had all this shit all over it. It looked ridiculous. Yeah, it was like
it was terrible.
Yeah. I also have like this. You remember Resident Evil 5's poster? I have that. I had the what's the one with the showing the chick's ass.
All right, let's keep that one.
Yeah.
Arkham City. Caleb says that game was. It was Arkham City.
It was Arkham City. Yeah. Okay. So my thing, like I said, we were talking about Ava was talking about newsprint earlier in the chat. I have talked about it before. I think DC and Marvel both, if they want to like generate sales for stuff, they need to start doing like Shonen Jump does. And release a newsprint version of, let's say, 5 to 6 comics. It'll be newsprint. It'll be black and white. That's where you put your characters like America and Squirrel Girl and all that.
Yeah, your secondary that no one gives a shit about.
Right. Yeah. And then like what you could do is like every month have every month have a poll. Like go to this website and tell us what your favorite story was, and then once that volume is complete, then you print a trade paperback. Right, and that'll be in full color and glossy and all that good, that cool shit, right?
And that way you could get away with like it's basically what you're saying is like a monthly anthology of several comics. Mm-hmm. That way you could get away charging like $7 for it or $5 because it's got like 10 things in it or some shit like that.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Some extra covers and interviews with artists or some shit. You can put them in all that crap in there.
I mean, what was it, Jordan? Like even they're on digital, like isn't Shonen like they're doing like $1 a month.
Yeah, for Weekly Shonen Jump, you're getting that for like $1, and also if I think on the Shonen Jump app, because this is all through Comixology, but on the Shonen Jump app, I think you have the backlog of all of their Weekly Shonen Jumps. You can get those basically for free.
Yeah,
and it's just like the most recent stuff you can buy for like $1 each.
And you can see what Shonen Jump is doing. They're trying to generate volume over, immediate profitability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're saying if we get 500,000 people paying $1, that's a bunch of fucking money, So, basically, that'll cover our operating costs to do this shit, and we can, we have money in the bank essentially. So,
well, one thing they can do. The thing is, they got sort of an advantage because their home like Japanese company is already paid for the art and the book. They're all done. All you have to do is pay. Like Shonen Jump is just paying for translators.
Yeah, effectively.
Printing it, which is slightly it's a little cheaper. They got that advantage over Marvel. But the thing is, they figure out how to turn that into a massive business too.
Yeah,
and Marvel, like everything they have fundamentals of everything. They have the comics that people like, or characters that people like. They have full colored books. They have retail outlets that they can give all this shit to.
Mm-hmm.
They have everything right there, but they just don't utilize any of it.
Exactly.
Or they piss it all away with trying to be woke as fuck on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I was gonna say that was something I was gonna mention. The Japanese don't care about being woke.
Yeah.
No, the Japanese are just gigantic spurgs when it comes to their art.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right.
No, they're fucking like insane. But they don't. But they're not always on Twitter trying to get everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Which Japan wouldn't mean anything because they fucking
I was gonna say.
Shit.
I was gonna say
like, I have a Nazi flag in my house because I don't know what it means. It just looks cool. But yeah. But the thing is that they're not shitting on their customers. They're like, oh, thanks for buying our book. Here's next month's fucking Robot Wars, man, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm excited for the next issue of Robot Wars, man.
I'm actually a guest artist on that one. No one.
It's good
I
shit.
have a Japanese cinnamon.
Yeah, it's a Kabahito.
Kabuki. My Japanese cinnamon is Sergeant Kabuki, man. I didn't want to tell this because it's kind of like a secret, but you got me.
You know, you ought to like do a manga inspired art sometime and says like, and don't even like, just make a new account on Twitter and say it'd be Sergeant Kabuki Man. It's just like, here's my new.
Dude, I would actually like if I could figure out how to do sort of like the art style that's like in a lot of the mangas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally like just put it out there and not even put my name or anything to it and see like if Japanese artist Twitter will fucking freak out or something.
Oh man, this is really good.
Yeah. And then I'll so the thing is I can't like translating wouldn't work. I would get really pissed off if people wouldn't like I'll do it maybe on a man account, get really mad. It's like, oh, you didn't credit the artist. but there's no like actual artist credit to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, you didn't credit me. I mean, the artist.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. That's what I was talking about. Japanese, they get really fucking spurgy about giving credit. Like, don't repost art if you don't give the credit. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude.
Who the Japanese do?
Japanese and the people that like
I think
a lot of the weeboos.
I think it's less the Japanese, more the weeboos who.
Well, I've seen translated like 2chan posts and shit like that of Japanese artists like bitching out this stuff like years ago.
Yeah,
and they do like get really fucking weird. But yeah, I think a lot of it's driven by the fucking weebs that are all into this stuff now.
Yeah, but you know, getting back to my point.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, I think if Marvel or in DC both would do kind of that suggestion, was like, okay, we got these stories that people want to tell, but we're not going to like put them in a fucking book, you know, their own book because it costs too much money. So we're going to put them in these like in this monthly magazine style where, you know, it's going to have like 5 to 10 issues of something in each one, and then you can gauge what's liked and what's not, you know, and that's when you could print. I mean, fucking Japan's been doing it for a long time, you know?
Yeah, if you could chill, like, you put a whole bunch of advertisements in the book telling, go to this website to vote on
what's your
and
favorite
so they get,
story,
say, like 10% of the people that buy it go to vote, and then they get sort of a 10% would be a decent amount to gauge, like, what people are interested in. So then, like, people are like, oh, I really like this Squirrel Girl story. Oh, I don't like this America Chavez one. And then they'll adjust accordingly, like, 3 months later.
Yeah,
when they finally get the information and can say like tell this artist, "I look, dude, you're working on."
Yeah, you're going up to the big leagues now, pretty much. Yeah,
yeah. You would just switch around the stories and that make it. It wouldn't be, say 4 characters or whatever all the time.
Yeah,
you switch them in and out with like a group of 10 or something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of things, and like I said, tomorrow night, I finally gonna get to the Diamond stuff because that's just a whole nother can of worms altogether.
Just a quick teaser of my like sort of idea is Diamond needs to subsidize comic book stores.
It's not a bad idea, in all honesty.
Now here's the rationale why, because it's an ecosystem. Diamond needs comic book stores. That's who they sell to.
Yeah.
Comic book stores need Diamond to ship them, so they all work together. They're, I would almost say a parasitic relationship.
Yeah, if it gets to, I would say if it gets to a point where everybody goes digital, then Diamond's done.
Yeah, well, yeah. If everyone goes digital, or if the comic book stores go tits up, what's Diamond gonna do?
Yeah,
they're fucked.
They're done.
But they're making all this. They're fleecing all these dudes. And what they need to do is like say this one store is doing really well, and they're making a hell of a lot of money from this one store.
Yeah,
they'll take some of the money from that one store and sort of subsidize those stores. Say, here, we'll give you a little push to make it.
Yeah.
We'll float you a loan or something like that. See if you can keep it going. If not, then fine. They cut it. You just have to close or whatever. But
yeah,
they need what the point. The point of this would be to keep the stores there.
Right.
Because back in the day, like your oil company would also own the gas stations.
And
they would own. You have a giant corporation would own everything in the ecosystem from fucking oil tankers to the refineries, all the way to the gas stations to where people bought it.
Yeah.
And they made sure everything that the entire supply chain was in effect. It was effective, and people got what they needed.
Yeah.
And people made money. But they don't do that.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I think that's we can go in more in depth in that tomorrow night if you're be around, because like I said, I just really I've been we talked about that for like before Christmas, that really want to do this thing on Diamond, because
yeah, that's your big one.
Yeah. But anyway, it has been an hour and 39 minutes. I think that's a good time to call it a day for this episode. Really enjoyed everybody for watching and everything, and I hope you enjoyed our new host, Race Realist Thanos. And
Your boy,
Race Realist Thanos.
I didn't even say the N word either, man. I was about several times, but I was like, look, I can't do it.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I said, we'll see you tomorrow night. I might. Well, it depends if I get time. I got to go off. Got out of town in the morning, but we'll see what happens. I might put together a little something in the morning in a video. So
do a your boy Zach video in your truck.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Go buy a comic book and review.
But have like a fucking cookbook open in front of you.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna
just some random magazine or something, and just start talking about it like comics.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's good. It's been good. We will see you tomorrow night later on.
There.